Oh, baby, it is a Thursday edition of the Ysn Power Hour, proudly presented by our friends up at Toyota of Warren. Thanks to Tino and the entire team up there, making the entire buying process of a new vehicle, a used vehicle, better for you. You don't have to go very far. Just head on over to the Toyota of Warren dealership, and my friends over there that hooks me up with the YSN Toyota Tundra will do the same for you at a great price that makes you feeling like you just got the best deal that you ever received. They are the ones that are proudly bringing this to you. We call this the 60-minute love letter to local sports. And ladies and gents, I got to tell you, we got a great one for you today. We got a young man who hasn't even cracked the high school barrier, and he's already doing wonderful and fantastic things, not only for this area, but for the family, for his school that he's going to be an upcoming freshman at Warren JFK. And he is a guy that I'm excited to talk to because you look at what he's doing and he's so chill, so relaxed. And he's huge. He's humongous. I think he's well over 6 foot tall. We'll ask him what the official stats are. Trevin Rink will join me in just a moment. A young man who did the MLB Junior Home Run Derby, not only represented our area, represented the country, and ended up 4th in the world, and ended up hitting double-digit home runs over the fence at the Nationals in Seattle on All-Star Game weekend. And I believe he took in the MLB draft as well. So we're going to talk to him about his entire experience, what it's been like. Was he starstruck? Was it a situation where he was able to relax at all? As a I'm guessing a 13-year-old, 13, 14, somewhere in there. What is it like to have that kind of, I want to say pressure, but that kind of experience going into it? And oh, by the way, you're joining a championship caliber baseball team in the spring. So we'll talk to Trevin in just a minute. And at 3:30, our good buddy, the 440 Sports Show himself, the man, the myth, yes, the legend, Mr. Sam Torres will join me right there in the booth, in the seat, in the YSN Athletics Studios. And we're going to talk about the Combine, the 3rd annual Ashtabula County Combine that he's putting together. This one is surely going to be a hit. And why we're talking about this is it kind of bleeds right into what YSN's trying to do starting this fall with YSN Prospect. And I know there's a lot of people that have been clamoring for it, that have been waiting for it. Ladies and gentlemen, the wait is almost over, and there's nobody, I promise you, more excited than yours truly, because this is YSN was a passion project. It was a dream of mine. And being able to add on to that, add another leg to what we're doing here at YSN and help prospects at the college level be able to understand a little bit more about not only where they rank, where they stand, but help them navigate those choppy waters that continue to get choppier with NILs and with scholarships. And are you a D1 player, a D2 player, a JUCO player, a D3 player? Where should you fall, and why you shouldn't be disappointed if it's not D1 Power 5, right? I think there's a lot to talk about there, and we're going to help you navigate that with Prospect. But it all starts with the Ashtabula County Combine that happens this Saturday, Jefferson High School. Sam Torres, again, the dude making it happen, is going to be right here talking to us about why it's important to come out and watch what goes on, and why it's important to do the $5 buy-in to be a spectator. We'll have Sam on in just a few minutes. Well, I guess at 3:30. Right now, we're not going to waste any time. We're going to get to this young man, Trevin Rink, who, he comes from a great family, a phenomenal family, a family of athletes, as I understand, a family that is very, firmly based in their Christian faith, and a young man who is standing out amongst everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we bring in Trevin Rink. What's up, Trev? Hang on. Let me get your mic on. There we go. What's up, buddy?
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, it's going well, but probably not as good as you, dude. The MLB Junior Home Run Derby, that had to be quite the experience for you. What was it like to enter, right? What was the process like for that? What gave you the I don't know, the idea that you would stand out? Did you have momentum going into it, or did you go in and I mean, you hit what 19 out of 25 pitches in the regional out of the ballpark? Have you always been a home run hitter? Let's start with this because I'm giving you a ton of questions because I'm excited
So
for you. Let's start with this. What was the process like to get started into the junior home run derby?
all right, so the first one that we did, there was three parts. The first one was in Hudson, Ohio, so about an hour away something from us, but we almost didn't even go to that, but it was on the way to one of our tournaments before, so we stopped there. Uh, I won that one, but after that, it was like a 2 3 week break in between. So we headed to Detroit for the next one, and Detroit is probably the best one I did for sure. Um, Again, like you said, I went 19 for 25, but the talent up in Detroit was actually pretty solid. There's like two other kids that had a chance to go, but I beat them out. And then when I went to Seattle, that the talent up there is amazing. Like you had kids from all over the country. Say, I think the winner ended up being from Knoxville, Tennessee, but everybody there was great. So,
Dude,
I mean,
when you're competing against the best in the country, the best in the world, basically, because this is the United States and we still are the world champs, two-time defending. When you're thinking about that, does that ever like sit in the back of your mind as you're swinging at pitches? Like, do you ever get kind of anxious? I mean, is that something that goes through your head?
that morning, I'm not gonna lie, I was so nervous. Like the night before, I was even more nervous because we checked our bat in before, but they didn't put our bat on our flight, so we were all super nervous. Like my dad had to go out and buy a new bat,
Oh
but
wow.
yeah, say our bat ended up getting on another flight to Seattle. So luckily, I was able to use it, but we were very nervous at that time. So
Well, and people don't understand that don't understand baseball, and softball for that matter. Aluminum bats, if you go out and buy a bat, it needs some breaking in time, right? So
yeah, it takes
it's
about
not
like
gonna
300 swings or something like
yeah,
that.
it's not hot right out of the wrapper.
Yeah,
So it's one of those things where and you gotta rotate it, and there's a lot of love and TLC that goes into it. So when your bat isn't on the same plane as you, when did you find out what was your immediate thought process of "Oh my gosh, what am I gonna swing?"
oh crap, just shocked, like, just
Now,
like
were
my
you hitting over the regular wall there in Seattle?
so they set up another fence about like 200, so
Okay.
not too far, but I ended up having the furthest hit ball of anybody there. Say I think I or the two furthest actually. Say I had two in game that would have been ground rule doubles. So
Wow. Did they give you the actual measurement? Do you know? No, do you recall
no,
that?
they didn't give us the actual measurement, but it bounced on the warning track is all I know. So
Wow. Okay. So I mean, when you're standing there, and I've had the joy of playing at two different parks, major league parks. I played at what used to be Jacobs Field, now of course Progressive Field, and I've played at PNC Park. So when you're standing there, what's crazy to me, and maybe you have the same sentiment, maybe it's different, is what feels so big when you're in the stands all of a sudden isn't that big when you're standing there because the walls are so tall. What was it like for you when you're standing in that box and you're swinging away?
this is just an amazing experience, pretty much. Like when I first stepped on that field, I was like, this is how I know I've made it. Like I'm just shocked that I did this good. But then again, all comes back to God. God gave me these abilities and just have to praise him for it.
I love that, man. I love that your family is firmly based in your faith and God and a big part of your life. Let's transition over to when you realized or dad realized that you were a power hitter and even signed up because I'll be honest, I was a gap to gap hard line drive hitter, but I think everybody dreams of it. I mean, you guys are in the backyard, you're swinging, you're doing the home run derby. When did you realize that you are a power hitter and I mean, Trev, quite honestly, one of the best in the country?
So my first ever home run that I hit was in 10U, and then like so 10U, then I hit a couple in 11U, but my first big year for home runs was 12U. I think I had 20 the whole year, so that was like the moment I realized I'm a power hitter.
20 home runs.
Yeah.
So I tell you this with complete certainty that there's college coaches out there already watching this, salivating and trying to figure out how to get a hold of you and waiting for what you're going to do. So what, I mean, you travel obviously for even playing tournaments. What teams do you play for and when did you start traveling?
So I've done travel ball since 10U. Currently, I'm on the Ohio Spiders. Shout out to them. They're a great organization, and they are a team that like gets kids on the map. Like they're focused on the development, get us in big tournaments, like Perfect Game and PBR, uh, big brands out there. They care about those tournaments a lot more than they do local. So we head down there a lot. But yeah, we just but all we do down practice is hit and field, but hitting's like our main focus and stuff. But the just shout out to them again. They're a great organization. Thank you to them for putting me on their team.
Well, we know you can hit. What can you do on defense? Do you pitch? I mean, do you play the field? Where do you go?
So when I play defense, I'm usually a pitcher, shortstop, or third base, but I'm comfortable playing everywhere else. Like I've caught, played first, outfield a lot, so I pretty much play everywhere.
So you got a big bat and you've got a big arm. I mean, everybody right now infatuated with Shohei Ohtani. Can we see the future Shohei Ohtani sitting with us right now?
I mean, I hope so, but I don't know if I'm going to be that good.
Who's your inspiration in the major leagues? And a name we would recognize. And the second part of that question, maybe not the person who's your inspiration, but who do you characterize your game and personalize it closest to? Is there a comparable that you see in the major leagues right now that you'd like to be like?
So right now, I want to be like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I mean, he's my favorite player. Love him. Like, I just want to be like him when I get older. But my game, honestly, it's probably a lot like Jose Ramirez, I would say, in the sense that he's good contact when he needs it, but when they need power, he can hit it pretty good.
Are you a stat watcher? I mean, I obviously you watch your home runs, but do you look at your batting average? Do you look at your slugging percentage after
Sick.
games, during the week and say, okay, I need to get this a little bit higher. So maybe I'll choke up a little bit on the bat, or maybe I'll focus on going opposite field. Is that stuff that's crossing your mind yet?
Say, yeah, I like to focus on average a lot. Like, average is one thing. Like, what's the point of hitting a home run if you're batting like under 100 and stuff? So,
That's a good point. All right, let's get the measurements, man. How tall? You threw out the first pitch in the YSN All Star game. I stood next to you and felt like an action figure. How tall are you?
I'm 6'3",
6 foot, and you're 13,
14.
14 years old. You're 6'3". And do you get that height from dad's side, mom's side? Where does it come from?
I get it from my mom's side. Like, my mom's about like 5'10", 5'11", but my grandpa is about like 6'3", 6'2", something like that. So, like, all my height comes from that side.
And you probably got a few inches left to grow as you're just going to be a freshman at Warren JFK. Are you a one sport athlete, multi-sport athlete? How does it go for
I'm
you?
actually a three-sport athlete, so I play football, basketball, and baseball.
Okay, what position? I'm guessing baseball. We already know your position is baseball. Basketball, what's your position?
I'm more of a forward center player, but
Okay, so a post guy. Can
yeah.
you shoot the three still? Are you Dirk Nowitzki?
I'm not a three shooter, honestly.
Which is funny because you got the long game on your baseball resume, but the basketball resume, I figured you'd be a guy that stays outside. What about football? What position do you play in football?
In football, I'm a quarterback and cornerback too. So
Very cool. And you're going to Warren JFK and there's a championship mentality always in
yeah.
all the sports that they compete in. So what are you so excited? And I know dad is very excited about going to Kennedy this year. What makes you so excited to be an Eagle?
Honestly, like not only just the sports, but just the community you have there. Like everybody treats each other like family. You're not going to see many problems at that school, but even if you just see a random person on the street wearing Kennedy stuff, you talk to them and act like their family is how it is there.
I think what I'm most excited about for you is the fact that we saw that and exactly what you're talking about. When you threw out the first pitch at the All-Star game, you threw it out to Caleb Hadley, who is the Warren JFK guy and obviously a very big talent for that team. Can you see yourself pitching to him next year? He's a senior, you're a freshman, and you guys contending for a state championship in baseball?
So I'm hoping that that happens, but I definitely see us going back to the state championship this year.
I
So I
love
see
it.
us getting back to that level.
All right. So the last thing I wanted to talk to you about, I know that you were in Seattle, and I want to say you guys stayed for the draft. Am I correct in that assessment?
So yeah, we stayed for the draft because that was the day before the actual home run derby. So yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So when you were there, were you able to kind of take a step back and say, okay, I know I'm 14 years old. There's a lot going on right now, but this is where I want to be. Were you able to kind of push yourself towards that path and see yourself, 4 years, 6 years, 7 years from now, standing there, wherever that is, and being drafted and having your name called?
So I hope that happens, but I mean, thinking about all the talent in the world, it's hard to just do that. But I hope so.
We hope so too, man. We're gonna get off the field for a second here for a couple questions, if you don't mind. Who are your role models, in your life, and people that help you get to where you are and are continuing to push you along to be who you can be?
So one person that's really big to me are my coaches. Coach Comlink at JFK, he's the basketball coach. He's a great guy. I mean, I love him to death. I mean, he's also the dean of students at our school, so he just has a great bond with all the students there. So he's probably my biggest role model.
All right. If you weren't playing sports, and if you didn't want to play sports in your future, what would you want to do? Is there a career path that you'd want to follow?
So the career path I want to follow is I actually want to end up being a scout when I get older for an MLB team or something. So my career is always going to be in like some sort of sports. So
I see. I can appreciate that because, like you, I wanted to be a Major League Baseball player, but they don't really look to 5'4" catchers that often, unless you're Jose Altuve at second base. But a career path in sports, it's interesting. You want to be a scout. What would you look for? What are some of the personality traits and character traits you'd look for in a good draft pick that maybe you possess?
so if I was a scout, that's hard. Nobody's really ever asked me this, but I just look for the way that they treat people, honestly. I mean, if you don't treat people right, how are you gonna treat your teammates? Like,
I can appreciate that. Do you got any brothers or sisters? I think you got an older brother played hockey, right?
see, I got a brother that's playing ACHA hockey up at Akron University this year, and then I got a sister that also goes to Kennedy. So
Wow. Okay. So here's the tough question. Nobody watches this show anyway, so you're safe. Who's the best athlete in your family?
me, my say my family admits that. Like
I love it. I love it. What would your brother say?
he would agree. He's the one that's like told me that. Usually, like for the longest time, I used to just deny it, but my brother literally tells me all the time, like you're the best athlete in this family.
Does your sister play any sports?
She does volleyball, but I don't know if she's doing that this year or not. But I think she's gonna do cross country. So,
I know your parents are very important to you, man. What's one lesson that sticks with you to this day that mom and dad maybe pushed on you?
probably do everything as hard as you can. I mean, that's anytime I go to practice, even if I don't want to, I usually just go as hard as I can and don't stop till the end.
Trev, you got one great big fan here. Maybe not big, but you got a fan nonetheless here. We're looking forward to following your career the next 4 years and beyond, man. We're big fans of your family as well. Great family, great support staff that you have, and a great school that you're attending in JFK. Looking forward to hanging out with you. Thanks for hanging out with us here
Yeah.
today, and you're always welcome here on the Power Hour, man.
All right.
Thanks, brother. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for having me.
You got it, man. Take care. There he goes. Trevin Rink. I mean, let's think about this for a minute. Let's put this in perspective. Okay. There's a lot of us that, we're big timers in this area where, if we're hitting home runs, 19 out of 25 home runs, we feel pretty good about ourselves. That's a story by itself. That is a fishtail that we will tell forever. This young man goes on. He's in Detroit. He's in Seattle, and he's hitting bombs, dropping bombs on behalf of all of us here in the Mahoning Valley, which I've said this before. I say it always. This is a hotbed for diamond sports, not just baseball, not just softball, diamond sports, because to me, we have some of the best umpires, officials that allow us to have a keen sense of a strike zone, whether you're a pitcher or a hitter. The baseball IQ is so high in this area, and it's thanks to so many. It's thanks to people at Ysn Park. It's thanks to some of these coaches. It's thanks to the parents that are able to take their kids around and travel. It's thanks to NABF coming in to Struthers, Ohio. It's thanks to these high-level Little League organizations that we have around here that go to states and go to Little League and all that stuff. We are a hotbed, and Trevin Rink is just the next Lego that's on top right now. And that dude is going to be on top for years to come. So I promise you, if you are not familiar with Trevin Rink right now, you are going to be over the next few years. Big thanks to Trevin. Big thanks to his dad, Jeff, for allowing us to sit down with him and really get the scoop on who he is. And that's important. X's and O's are great. That kind of stuff is phenomenal. We're very, very proud of what he's been able to do and accomplish, but we want to know what kind of guy he is. Such a high character young man, pushing himself to the limits and having these great opportunities. But I will tell you, I don't know what I would do if I in Sam's here, we'll talk about a little bit about Trevin's nightmare there with not having the bat on the same flight as he is. We've gone to tournaments and all over the country doing stuff with our partners at Game Changer, and my equipment didn't show up to the spot that we were going to do it. And I lost my mind. I don't know what I would do if I was on a national stage like Trevin was and didn't have my bat. I don't know what I would do. I'd probably go crazy. I'd probably go nuts. But we will talk to the legend, Mr. Sam Torres, right after this break, and a word from our great sponsor and presenting sponsor, our friends over at Toyota of Warren. Back after this.
We believe expectations are made to be exceeded. At the new Toyota of Warren, it's about more than just getting a great deal. It's about service you can count on and a friendship you can trust. Year after year, we've done what we do best. We've gone the extra mile so you could too. Because we know it's just not about buying a new car. It's the start of a new adventure. Toyota of Warren, driven by you.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Your teams work hard and give it all they've got. Well, so does ours, because 21 Sports and YSN give you extra effort when covering local sports. 21 Sports and YSN, winning coverage of our Valley's teams.
Hi, I want to tell you about my Trish Yearwood home collection available at Sheely's Furniture. With 2 locations serving Ohio and Pennsylvania, Sheely's is one of the country's top sellers of My Home collection. And the best part? At Sheely's, you never have to wait for a sale. They offer everyday low pricing as well as a price match guarantee, so you can shop the Trisha Yearwood Home Collection with confidence. Come see my collection with something to offer for every room in your home and get it all with free local delivery, only at Sheely's Furniture.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. DJ Yoakley and the legend Sam Torres with us. Sam, I'm going to fix this real quick. I know you had some of these issues with our friends over at StreamYard last night.
Yes.
So I got to get rid of it. It just looks weird. Like, I know Toyota Warren's probably sitting there like, I love it because we've got, two different things going. Let's get rid of that too while we're at it. You only get one, Tino. I know what you're trying to do here. Sam, I mean, you've been a part of YSN right now, I think officially we're about 11 months now because we jumped on right in August, right?
So right at the end of July. So yeah, we are
approaching the 1 year.
That 1 year anniversary is coming up very, very soon. And it's been awesome. You know what I mean?
I'm happy to hear that.
Since, from the first time we talked, it's, I think we were like-minded, and that sort of thing. And it was something that I kind of had going in Ashtabula, but, at a much smaller scale. And it was very cool to kind of get in here to somebody who had not only got his boots muddy, but had time to wash them off and get them muddy again. So, and as well as I do, I kind of lean into you for a lot of different things. And that's really one of the greatest things I think for over this past year is, getting the support and finding people who have the same kind of passion for youth, the athletes of our areas, and trying to give them as much, a big a chance as we possibly can.
And you've done that so well. You've done it even before YSN. But I mean, when you talk about guys that have leaned in, and you do it from a long distance away. I mean, you're 440. You were 440 on Gold. Now it's the 440 Sports Show. We've talked about YSN Ashtabula, stuff like that. I mean, you're a man that wears many hats. But the thing about it that I love it, this is not your full-time gig. You are a traveling nurse by trade.
Yes,
helping people, during the day, and like Batman, freaking, helping their kids in their communities at night. What's it like for you? I know that you had your expectations, and you and Ryan at the time, you guys big on production value and doing like a game of the week, game of the night type scenario. And you've made a huge shift, which was very challenging for you to do. And you've embraced the frequency. The hey, I'm going to do this every day. We're going to cover as many kids and as many teams, as many communities as we can. What was that like? Because it was like going against the grain for you, and you've just bear hugged it, man.
So when we first started, it was, we already knew the limitations that existed. We're two guys, we can only be at one place at one time. So it's like, well, if we're going to be here, you're getting 100% of what we got here. So bells and whistles, it was trying to, you as sports fans, you're always watching, ABC Sports, NBC Sports, ESPN Sports, and you see all these great things that they're doing, and you're like, I can do that, and I can do that, and it takes a lot of time and trying to learn these sort of things because, we didn't go to school for this. It was just learning, and it was fun, and I loved doing that, but there gets to be a point where you develop relationships with so many schools and so many athletes that you start to wonder, like, how can I stretch this out? What is the easiest way to stretch this out? And some of that comes with, kind of not dumbing down, but rather kind of, I guess, paring down the production, and offering it in a widespread area. And this year, I'm so excited because for the first year, and this is one of the things I was talking about on my show, I was talking about it a couple weeks ago. For the first time, we are going to have dedicated broadcast teams for like 6 schools. And for the first time in Ashtabula County history, the question is not going to be, is the game streamed and where is it streamed? The answer is always yes. Yeah. It's yes, and it's YSN. And I can't be more proud about that because it's 60 games.
Yeah.
You're going, we've taken, where me and Ryan were, bouncing around getting 14 a season, and we've multiplied it by 5, by 6. And it's exposure. For these kids, it's something. One of the number one things I always hear is, I wish I had this when I was in high school. And I've really taken that to heart because I believe it too. Like there are times where I'd love to go back, even though we got our butt kicked by Steubenville, to watch that.
Absolutely.
But it's nowhere to be found. And even if it is, who's got a VCR? Like, I mean, you know what I mean? I'm sure like that's one of the greatest things about it this year. And that's why, you know, the partnership with YSN and getting in here and just going YSN all the way has made sense.
Yeah, and that's what it started as. It started as a partnership, but really it's turned into a brotherhood. You know, it's turned into, we talk about family and we talk about being a team all the time, but Sam, you've been closer than that. We've roomed together. So we've been there and we've been toe to toe and there's many stories to share, which we'll go YSN Unplugged one night and just let loose. But dude, like it has been incredible to watch you literally become the voice of Ashtabula. I mean, people look to you, they come to you for advice. They come to you for direction. And it's really cool to see because this was a dream of yours and you started it. It's still a dream of yours. And even though when we bicker back and forth with each other late at night over a couple of adult pops, it's a thing where I don't care who you are. Nobody's going to tell you that the Ashtabula kids are any worse or any better than anybody else in the world. You believe in your county that much. Why is that?
You know, I think it's just because where I'm from, it's what made me. And I've seen the successes and I think more than the successes, you get passionate for the almost successes, the ones that you see that if opportunities like this existed, if they had a couple people in the right people in their corner that, you know, they could have gone on to do good thing, you know, play, whether it's JUCO, D1, whatever, you know, I'm a personal believer that I think if you try as hard as you can, that 7% for you can grow exponentially. It's a lot about work and that sort of thing. And when you're the biggest county, but nowhere near the biggest population, and there are huge rural areas, the coverage isn't there. And if that's one thing I can change, then that's what I'm going to do. And I've seen these kids and you get rose colored glasses because you're watching them, you know, you get to see them every day.
And that kind of leads me right into what we're really here to talk about is the Combine. I mean, this is the third year for the Ashtabula County Combine. You're putting it on. Why is this? And this was like when we talked last year, I remember this was heavy emphasis for you.
Yes.
This was, hey, you need to be here. You need to check this out because this is huge. Not knowing what you had when you came on to YSN and what we were planning down the road. This is like your be all and end all. Like this is something you're passionate about and you're running it, correct me if I'm wrong, essentially by yourself at this point.
Yes.
Why is this so close to your heart?
So when we started 440 and Goal 3 years ago, it was initially just a sports podcast we were going to talk. And when we dove into high school and then I went that was it, feed in on high school, I started looking at areas like Youngstown, areas like Cleveland, Cincinnati, Columbus, and seeing all these different athletic events that they have for their football players, and not just football players, for volleyball players, and ways to kind of highlight your students and ways to highlight their abilities and show that, you know, while this guy may go to Ed's and runs a 4.4, you know, we got a guy that runs a 4.5 or a 4.6, and these are guys to look at. It's a point of pride.
Yeah.
And it's kind of one of those things like I thought it up. It was my baby. And you know, when you have that baby, you nurture it and it becomes important to you. And it's always been kind of in the forefront and it's the buy-in from the kids. You know, the first year we did it, we didn't have like awards and stuff like that, but I saw this competitive spirit jump out amongst each other. And one of the coolest things about the Combine is you don't run with your school. You get intertwined with a bunch of other schools. So we put the fastest guys in one group. We put the strongest guys in one group. And then there's a lot of middle guys who are kind of similar. You're competing within that group, but like it just brings like a camaraderie in there. And my favorite part of the Combine all day is when I get to see all of these kids and all of these helmets together on one place. It's like, you know, I likened it to the All-Star game, the baseball All-Star game. There's a moment in all of these things. In the basketball, it was the same deal. There's a moment where you look out there and there's all these different kids, all these different communities, different religions, different skin colors, different financial backgrounds. and they're all together trying to get better together. That's the best. It's the best thing you'll ever see.
Yeah, that's my favorite part of the All-Star games is seeing all the uniforms, seeing all those kids that are trying to get better together. Okay, so let's break down the combine.
Mm-hmm.
What does it look like? What do people need to be aware of? For people that in year 4 of your combine, like how can they get involved? What should they prep? We're not going to give dates or anything like that, but like what events do you have that people can really work on and how should I know what the bench press,
Mm-hmm.
the 40-yard dash, what else is there?
So there's the vertical.
Okay.
We're going to measure out the vertical. We do the broad jump.
Okay.
And the medicine ball throw. And the medicine ball throw is actually something we incorporated last year, and it took place at the Eldro. So I've talked to a lot of different college coaches, and I asked them, like, what are these things you're looking at? I've looked at like the Nike skill camps.
Yeah.
And the Eldro, while it does have its worth, it's very heavy on skill positions.
Okay.
And it's very hard to get linemen to show explosiveness. And the bench press, it sells the tickets and people love to watch it.
Absolutely.
Myself included. It's my favorite part.
Yeah.
I fought to keep this in there because there were years where people didn't really want to do it. And you bump it down from 225 to 185.
Okay.
Because that's the high school weight. But I think the medicine ball throw, which has taken place, is an explosive technique, and it gives. I talked to Coach DJ Bolden from Lake Erie College.
Okay.
And he said, we're looking, strength is great. Explosiveness is what gets you on the field.
Gotcha.
So we put that in there. And then the rest of it was just looking at like the NFL combine. Like I'm a football guy, that.
A little bit. Sam was ready for football in April.
Yes. Like it's, football could be 12 months a year for me. I love it. I absolutely love it. So, I watched the combines and those sort of things. And I was looking at the way they were testing and those sort of things. And what, if the NFL guys are looking at it, obviously the college guys have to take it into account. So that's where you add that in. And it's giving these kids a chance to show their skills. Yeah. And I think the way it's set up right now with the 40-yard, the medicine ball throw, the bench press, the vertical leap, the broad jump, and the shuttle, which is your lateral movement. Yep. Yeah. Every football player who's going to be on the field is going to have a chance to show something they're good at.
So do you divide, is it individuals and then you like, I don't know, add up all those for teams too? Or is it just specifically for the strongest, the fastest in each individual event?
So that's one of the fun things we do is there are 4 awards given out.
Okay.
The first award is for the fastest overall 40 time. And if you tie, we have a runoff.
Ooh, so, I like it.
Yeah, it's very, very fun. And then there's an individual award given for most bench press reps, which this year, going into this year, the record holder is a kid by the name of Sam Petros, who's playing at Edinburgh, who benched 185 33 times.
I heard you say that last night. I'm sitting there, I was like, whoa.
It was and you've seen, and you want to talk about a moment where everybody, regardless of what color shirt they were wearing or helmet or team everybody was hype. Yeah. Everybody's going, come on, Sam. And he's got a great name too. Yeah. So that,
of course.
But so that was the first year. That's but we also do the team. So we take all the 40 times for everybody who runs, and everybody has to run. You can't,
even the big boys.
I just because you got a defensive tackle out there that maybe 350, he's running it. So if he runs a 6'4", then it's going to bring your time down. But we take that whole time and we average it out. And
oh, you got this. Will Sam Torres be competing? The people want to know, says Chris Sigler.
I'll tell you what, the only thing I might compete in is the medicine ball throw. The 40-yard dash, I don't think we have enough time for me to do. And,
no, that's interesting. It's interesting. How much? So let's roll back to that here in a second. When you have this stuff happen, this is all. It's $5 at the gate, mm-hmm. right, for everybody, no matter what. The players get in for free. The coaches get in for free.
Yes.
Okay, so. When people come in, they give their $5. We've all been there. The All-Star game, they go, what am I paying $5 to watch people exercise, right? Mm-hmm. What does the $5 go towards?
So the $5 is going to go toward one of the things we've done in the past is we give out scholarships for the Asheville County Player of the Year. Last year's winner was Grant Hitchcock. He had a lot. They know a lot about him over here on this network.
A little bit.
Yeah, and it helps fund those, and it actually helps fund some of the volleyball stuff we give out last year as well. So it's all about the events, the scholarship. Everything goes right back into local athletes and providing opportunities to make them feel special.
So here's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to put the heat on you. I'm going to put you on the spot. As you know, when the combine happens in the NFL, Rich Eisen runs the 40, and he does it to raise money for charity.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put the challenge out to you. I'm going to have you do every single thing in the combine.
Okay.
If you do it, I'll give you a free $500 scholarship from YSN.
Okay. All right. So that happens.
All right. So there it is. and I want, it needs to be documented.
Yes, it will be.
And then I want it published on YSN, and then I'll cut you a check for $500 right now. I mean, that's because I believe in what you're doing. Obviously, I love what you're doing. And if we can help another kid get a scholarship that is their burden and it costs you, now don't die. Don't do anything stupid. Okay. Don't eat like a Baconator and then go do the 40. But I mean, it's because I know you're trying to get healthy as well. I mean, that's something that you've and I hope I'm not like breaking
no,
news here.
Absolutely.
But it's one of those things. Like, I think that we can use this as a bar for where you're at year after year after year. And hey, I'll tell you what, if I'm there, I'll run it with you. I'll do it all with you. And then we can at least make fun of ourselves. Yeah. Right. So, dude, I believe in you so much. I think what you're doing is phenomenal. What things do you want people to know about this combine that don't, like you didn't explain, right? Mm-hmm. So why does it exist? Why should it be important to teams, to student athletes, and things of that nature?
So one of the biggest parts is it gets kids out in a competitive. They get out there and they get to compete against each other and try and get better together. You know, it's all one big group of kids getting together. You know, I think, in the past, we've taken these numbers, we've sent them out. I know last year, I'm going to try and do the same thing this year. I have a huge email list where I don't know if they ever read them or not, but they get them. Yeah. It's like 75 different colleges. I just send the numbers because that's what you get. It's all about trying to give them an extra shot. You know what I mean? The lower your population, the lower exposure you get, the more shots you got to get, and the harder you have to work to get those shots. And the kids, when they go out here, and this is why I want people to attend, because it's super fun to compete, and you're always going to do that, whether there's one person in the stands or 500 people in the stands. It's a lot more fun when there's 500 people in the stands, though.
A little bit. I mean, it really is. I mean, think about COVID versus, the year 2021 after COVID, when everybody got to come back, the excitement. People were talking. I mean, I know you had the same thing when people had the chills again on the field. When you're playing in front of nobody, no matter what you're doing, it's like you against you, and that's it.
Yes.
And that's it. But when there's people screaming, you said when Sam was being cheered, I bet that adrenaline was pumping, and it helps you out. It really does get to that next level. So that's inspiring stuff, man. So you're a guy who played football, right? In high school. Any more sports?
Yeah, I wrestled.
Okay.
I ran track briefly.
Yeah. Ran or threw?
I ran.
Oh my gosh.
I ran. Briefly ran track. And I played baseball as a freshman, but high school is a very good it's a very good spot to figure out if you're supposed to be here or not. Yeah. And God bless my coach, because he gave me a shot out there. But next year I changed my 2-digit number for a 3-digit number and started running track.
I mean, I know why, and people ask me all the time, why do you do this? And it's certainly not for us, right? No. Why do you do this?
Part of it is the fact that I think that the area needed it.
Yeah.
The area needs it. The kids need it. It's always about them. And I look back at myself, Sam Torres, in 2005 as a senior. And I think to myself, like, how cool it would have been. And there was a guy, we had a radio guy. He's one of my biggest inspirations. His name is Joe Pete.
Yeah.
And, he had a radio show where you could be featured. And if you were on that radio show, man, you were the top of the top. Like the feeling of that. Now, I'll be honest with you. I never made that. Okay. I never made the show, but just watching how much I admired that. And there was nobody doing that. And I know that these kids deserve it. They deserve to have their time in the sun. Yeah. And whether it stops when they get their diploma, or whether it's something that they can utilize when they're going on to the next level. As long as I can give them something, as long as I can make them feel a little bit special, I'm winning.
I love it, man. See, that's the stuff that people don't understand. Like the nights where you sit there and you go, why am I doing this? You know what I mean? But then you actually think about your why. You actually think about why you're doing it. And because there's a kid out there that is on the fringe of going to college and advancing, not just their playing career, but their career in general, and not. You know what I mean? It's the difference between motivating a kid to go another day or quitting the team. You know, there's a kid out there that goes, man, I guarantee this. I guarantee there's a kid out there, a student athlete that says, I can't wait till Sam interviews me, you know, and that is the difference. You're that guy now. You're Joe.
Yeah.
You're Joe. And, you know, even though you were never able to get on there, now you are the next generation of that. And people can't say, man, I can't wait. I know I made it if I'm on 440 Sports Show. I know I made it if I'm on YSN and, you know, if I'm a big dog of the Valley and stuff like that. What people don't know, Sam, is you're the guy that's advocating for them. I mean, I'm getting the emails, the text messages, and it's, hey, we need to get somebody from Ashtabula on, and sure, man, but you show the stats, and nobody in this company knows stats and gets stats better than you.
It is a passion. The stats portion is something that matters to me too, because, you know, when it comes to awards, a lot of time there's a lot of comments on it's political and it's this and it's that. You know as well as I do. We hear them. In this last year, I've heard them in the few awards I've been a part of. But one thing that doesn't lie are numbers. And I think one of the things I've always leaned into was I will always give you the opportunity if you work at it. And if you figure out a way, I don't care if you're playing Division 7 or Division 1. Be the best at where you're at. And I promise you I'll work everything I have to get you out there. And stats is the easiest way to do it.
Yeah. That's no lie. And you certainly work, and you work overtime with that stuff. We got some time left.
Okay.
What things are you looking forward to? I know, listen, and I'm being dead serious. There's a camera. So when you talk to Sam Torres, you might as well just notch in about 15 minutes about football, no matter what season you're in.
It's true.
This is your time of year, man. This is the beast. You call me and you're like, hey, what's football season? It's football season now. Yes, Sam, I know. It's a monster. And you got your first taste last year. Now, obviously you were very much more into the Ashtabula, and you'll still, I mean, we're never, ever going to take that away from you. That's part of our literally part of our handshake deal.
Yes.
But you've become a face and a guy that behind the scenes has made YSN grow, and your ideas and your passions and your thoughts and beliefs of literally getting the kids more, getting the coaches more, getting these kids more opportunities. You're literally 365 and 24/7. I admire that to no ends. What are you looking forward to most this year that you're sitting there going, man, like licking your lips, salivating, because you know it's going to be hard to repeat with 3 state championship appearances. It's going to be Jefferson's going to have a tough time repeating because now everybody knows who they are. What are you most looking forward to as part of the YSN team now that we're bringing to the table this year that maybe nobody knows about or they haven't heard of yet?
So one of my favorite parts of last year was actually familiarizing myself with the teams in the Valley, with the YSN teams. It's the best part. It's like if you're somebody who loves candy and you get to walk into Willy Wonka's shop. It's everywhere. Everything you want. Football, you can be football all day long if you want, because there's 70 schools now. You know, this year I'm looking. It's the matchups, and that was one of the reasons why I put a post out on the 440 Sports page. It's the matchups. There are huge matchups coming up this year. The powerhouses are meeting, and I love it. And I want to see the JFKs, and I want to see like Canfield and South Range. I'm pumped for that. I didn't know of them until last year, and yet this year I'm completely enthralled in their season.
And how they go.
How do you come back from that? Yeah. You know, Ursuline, you know, the big bad Ursuline, which, you know, Lakeside is going to take on. And that's something I knew about from last year because I was good friends with the athletic director. And when that was on there, I was like, this is beautiful. Like, you want to see You want to see good football. You want to see with football. The best part is you want to see this team's good. This team's good. Who's better?
I was, and it's interesting you brought up the South Range, because South Range is going to be playing Warren JFK. And you sent me a text just out of the blue one day, and it was, man, I'm so looking forward to JFK South Range. And I was like, Sam Torres is talking about Mahoning County football? Who dis?
It's those matchups, they jump off the page because, I got a taste. And I already had a love for it.
Yeah.
So, you see these two, like JFK, who's probably been a perennial powerhouse forever and ever and ever.
Yeah.
As far as I know, Warren JFK has been and will be again.
Yeah.
And then South Range, who I became acclimated to, honestly, in the last couple of years, and it was through Jefferson in the NE8.
Yep.
And Jefferson has, when I remember talking to Coach Hanna, and he talked about this monster down in Canfield, and I was like, what are you talking about? And then I saw it. And now I get to watch not bullies, but I get to watch the two big kids wrestle.
Yeah, that's true.
Like that's good stuff. It's great football. And then you talk about the culture of both of them, the coaching, and how this isn't just going to be, the biggest and the baddest. It's going to be the smartest and and coaches and cultures who really buy into excellence.
Yeah.
And that's my favorite part of football. When you get to see programs like that face off against each other, like, I'm football all the time. Glenville's playing Dinwiddie this year. I'm going. I got to see this.
We were golfing, and you're like, hey, they're playing. I was like, why do you know that? Why does that have space in your head? Like, I'm sitting here like bogged down because I'm like, all right, how are we going to get this many people to do this many games? And you're like, man, if there's a day off, like, let's just get up and go. And I was like, what is a day off?
Yeah.
But dude, I got to tell you, I'm incredibly proud of you, because knowing that you were football, and that's the first thing you and Ryan said. Hey, we're football heavy. It's 4-4-0 in goal, as it started. So I understood, but your knowledge, your enthusiasm of basketball, you did volleyball games last year. You did baseball games. Did you do softball as well?
Yes.
Okay. So when you look at that, Sam, that's where I think you've grown the most. You were not trained to be an announcer.
No.
You just kind of build it in, learn the technical stuff about it, and go. What I'm so proud of you, and I know this has turned into a love fest, but what I'm so proud of you is you've been a coachable person, a coachable student. You know what I mean, from that standpoint, because you came in and you said, listen, this is what we do. I know it's not right. Show me what you do. And not everything we do is right by a long shot, but this is how we do. I mean, even up to last week when I'm saying, okay, this is what we have to do. We have to make it profitable, right? I use the air quotes, because you're not keeping the profits, you're putting them into a scholarship,
right?
Which most people will sit there and go, well, he's cutting himself a check. Like, they don't understand, like, these lights don't stay on because of smiles and giggles.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm proud of you, and you've grown so much in 11 months that there's times where I'm sure you're like, this guy is an absolute like terrorist of a leader. And I just thank you for being able to be flexible, and guys like you and Sigler and Ty's chiming in as well too. He says 100% fantastic addition to the company. The value Sam brings is tremendous.
I appreciate it, Ty. That's
Dude,
my guy.
There's not one person, that has told me that you're even a mediocre addition. Like, everybody that we've talked to is Sam is it. The future is having Sam as part of the leadership team, as part of the executive team, whatever it's called. Sam has to be a part of it, because you always bring that devil's advocate to it, right? And if you're not bringing it, I am.
Right.
So I feel like we are the same guy. It's you're bringing this side, I'm bringing this side, and we marry it together. We go, okay, I didn't see it from that lens, which I love. Sigler chimed in and said, absolutely looking forward to working with Sam from beginning of the school year this year. And that's a guy that has, as you've seen, embraced a role before he even had a role.
Yeah.
I mean, Chris Sigler has been a huge addition to our mission. And he's not, when I'm getting text messages and I can't see, I mean, we all know the background. I'm getting text messages and I'm like, Sigler, I can't see this. It's one of those things. He's on vacation, 2 weeks ago. He's on vacation again this week. And he's all he's thinking about is YSN. He's thinking about these, not because of we're making money. He's thinking of it because what can we do for these student athletes? What can we do for these communities that helps them? And dude, you're the epitome of that. Like I love, there's a quote that says sometimes you're not going to have people in the left lane and right lane when you're running track, right? I didn't have that. There's no blueprint. There's nobody doing what we're doing.
Right.
But when I've got you, I know that, hey, I'm running a race, but I know you want to beat me. It brings out that competitive spirit. And I think you do that for a lot of the guys here. So thank you. Keep doing what you're doing. The combine is going to kill it Saturday. I'm going to do my damnedest to get there. And so should you. You really should there. Jefferson High School, admission's $5. It goes right to scholarships, folks. It goes right to scholarships. So if you think your kid has a chance at the scholarship, you might want to feed into that. You know what I mean? And even if you don't, that's an Ashtabula kid.
Yes.
Getting a 500. Now, with when you run, there'll be another scholarship to add to that list. You're not keeping that money.
No. It's always going back to the kids. And that's one of the things I think that, I've really kind of pride myself on. And what I learned very early on in this journey is the passion is what's going to separate you. And if you don't really want to win for the kids. Yeah. If you're going to accept mediocrity, you don't have a long time in here. If you're not trying to get better. And that's one of the things when I got in here, it was something that me and Ryan had been doing ourselves. And, we had a bit of success as well and notoriety and that sort of thing. But the moment that you go into anything and you think that you can't get better, you've already started to fail.
You lost.
So you got to take that stuff in. And that's not just in broadcasting or business. It's the athletes. It's everything. And it's something that I preach to my kids as well.
Compete,
get better. You're never the best you can be. And you never will be unless you keep trying. So,
amen, brother. This rocket ship we call YSN is just getting started, and we're getting through that. As the spaceship kind of, how it goes up, and then all of a sudden it's in that gravitational pull, and it's got to fight through it. Mm-hmm. I feel like we're on the back end of that, and what I love about it is, I'm telling you, we're still going to be competing when we're in the stratosphere because we got dudes that are not going to settle, and right at the top of that list is you, my friends. Thank you for everything you brought. We're excited to put more on your plate. Yes. I know it's not exciting.
Yeah.
And
I got room on my plate
though. So we'll make sure we fill that plate up for you, man. It's like Thanksgiving all the time around here, and you're a big reason, and we love having you at the table. So thank you very much for stopping by, making the plane trip down from Ashtabula to East Palestine, Ohio. I'll treat you to a burger here after this. So
nice.
Sammy, thank you so much. I appreciate you, brother. We're gonna do the Joe Dickey Electric. What's your spark? If you got one,
I got one.
All right, let's do it. Here we go. It's the Joe Dickey Electric What's Your Spark, presented by our good friends over at Joe Dickey Electric. Anything commercial, residential, industrial, anything electrical, make sure you're visiting dickeyelectric.com. Tell Eric Carlson, my good buddy, that YSN sent you. Would you help us pay for some advertising? My spark is great people and had a procedure done today, a little personal info, so you can shut it off if you want. And scared to death. Anytime I go to a doctor's office, man, and you as a traveling nurse, I've confessed to you, I get terrified. My blood pressure goes through the roof. Like, I have white coat syndrome. I've never got good news at a doctor, and even worse news today when there's needles involved. So, kudos to guys like you that told me, hey man, you got to do this. Like you got to live. Like you're working your ass off to see this through. So thank you to you. Thank you to the Dr. Kaufman. I know he's probably not watching. He finally told me today he knew who I was, other than just a patient. So that was kind of cool. But thank you to the nurse that comforted me and was like, you're going to live, you're going to be okay. There's people a lot older than you and a lot weaker than you that do this. So just, but dude, I prayed. I'm sitting there on my steering wheel and I'm just like, dear God, get me through this. Please give me faith. Give me, give me anything, give me guidance. Like, I was terrified. And I'm not going to, in case there's some weirdo like me out there listening, I'm not going to tell him where that shot went. It's not that bad. But it's pretty bad. Like, let's just put it this way. I can see it. I can see it. Sammy, what's your spark?
So my spark, and I'm super excited to get to do this because I've wanted to do this since I started coming around the Power Hour. So my spark is the supporting cast that I have. It's my family, it's the coaches, it's YSN, it's the people that one of the things I pride myself is my undying pursuit of excellence, and you cannot continue your pursuit without people in your corner. I have a wife that does more than I could ever do.
She's the real MVP.
She really is. She really is. I've got great daughters, the athletic directors who I've worked with, the coaches, just to have the open arms and the foresight to know that this is good for them. Without that support, I can't do anything. So my spark is their generosity and being able to help me continue to try and make things better for everybody else.
That spark felt good, didn't it?
It did.
It felt good. Sammy, you're always welcome here on the Power Hour, man. I know you're busy, but 3 o'clock slot, it's yours. It's yours. Here's one.
Yes.
Mark Roth. I knew it.
Yes, my guy.
My spark is watching two great dudes doing what they do and sitting in the athletic studio. I appreciate Mark. We can't appreciate you enough, dude. You are the combined spark. You are the flame, my friend. That's going to do it for our show. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. We appreciate you so much. Please continue to support what Sam does, 440 Sports Show, and, of course, YSN and Ashtabula. And I know last night you were looking for sponsors in Ashtabula. If you'd like to continue to sponsor YSN, it's as easy as going to ysnlive.com/advertise. Check it out there. Send us a message. Get us started. And if you want to become part of the team, you want to become part of the mega powers. Ooh, yeah, cream of the crop. Send us a message. We got billboards out there. Sam was on the billboard today with Ty Bartell. So send us a message. We'll get you started. Trust me, it's not as terrifying as looking a needle dead in the eye. Okay? It's not as terrifying as that. It's actually a good time, and we can get you on the Power Hour. You can talk your passion for sports as well. For Sam Torres, my name is DJ Yoakley. That's going to do it. We'll see you Monday for I'm at a Guardians game tomorrow, so I'm out. So no Scotty, and I think Monday we might be at Athletics. It might be the debut. Yeah. It might be the debut. Fingers crossed. God bless you. Have a great weekend. Stay safe, but most importantly, stay positive. We'll talk to you. YSN thanks you for